So we're
You
going
made
to
more.
welcome everyone to the October UAE Careers Community Public Meeting, where Nicola Ablett, Omran Al Khemairi, and Danish are going to be introducing us to jobs for nationals in the United Arab Emirates. It's very, very important that we remember the Emirati youth and preparing them for the opportunities that exist in their home country. Most of the time we talk about employment and we think about employment on a global scale. Sometimes we forget to think about the youth that are from the country that we're so proud to be working in, and that's why we're coming together this month to be talking about the well-needed conversation of how do we help the Emirati youth with employment, not only here in the country, but across the world as well. So Omran and Nicola are going to introduce jobs for nationals. I know that Danish will be joining us in a few minutes as well. And I turn it over to the two of you. Thank you so much.
I have to say, you made a better job of Omran's name than you did of mine. Because mine is Ablett.
I totally agree.
Okay, it's okay. It's usually Nicola that gets massacred rather than Ablett, but that's fine. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to speak a little bit. Danish will be joining us, and then Omran came on board as an advisory board member, September, Omran?
Yeah, that's correct.
September. And Omran and I go back more than 10 years. Omran, as Maria is a prison brain mapping certified practitioner. So Omran and I go back a long way from the point of view of prison brain mapping, neurosciences and behaviors. So again, the Emiratization aspects and angle, it permeates the relationship. Very quickly, and to do justice to Danish, Jobs for Nationals was set up in 2016. Initially, it was about getting employees to employers rather than employers looking at employees. But it has always been focused on UAE nationals, because there is a large number of highly educated women in particular, but also guys who tend to go back, and Omran will interject if he thinks I'm slightly off track, but young men often go into the civil defense or into the military or whatever, and then they get into studies and interested in the academic, the vocational route or the academic route, after they've done their national service or after they've been in the services. They suddenly get, whoa, education is actually really interesting. I'm not turned off by it anymore. Yesterday, we were sat with Arabian business, and it was more akin to what Dan talked about last month. Emiratization, the impact of expats departing from UAE, and how COVID has impacted performance at work, and whether it has made things easier, better, and as we said a little bit before we started recording, whether it's demonstrated other people's abilities. Now, in federal and local government, there is always going to be an Emiratis. And what we're finding is that you have niches of different nationalities, and Omran will back me up on this, niches of different nationalities which will actually block Emiratis coming into positions. And I was telling him a situation yesterday. I've been in UAE since 1995. So I was an Abu Dhabi girl 95, and I moved to Ras Al Khaimah in 2013. So my whole working experience I'm doing a Donald Trump, aren't I? Put my hands down. I've always worked in federal government or local governments and the private sector, and I have my second business now, a Ras Al Khaimah economic zone. So I've always worked with Emiratis. I've always coached and I've always mentored. And I very much see mentoring as development and coaching as performance. And a lot of people used to say to me, why are you coaching that Emirati? Why are you bringing in an Emirati? When I was an HR manager, I said, if I coach well, there's success. And I'll be asked to coach somebody else, and I'll influence somebody, and I'll maybe change some perceptions. And I can remember particularly in 2005, bringing in a young man who is now a director of the Department of Transport in Abu Dhabi. And people were saying to me, why are you bringing him in? Why are you bringing him in? He's an Emirati. He's not going to do anything. He's not going to work. And I said, just watch and wait and see. And after about 3 months, so even prison brain mapping terms, you can, and Omran and Maria will back me up, you can fake behavior for up to 6 months and even 18 months. But after 6 months has passed, this gentleman who's an Al-Suwaidi, everybody was coming to me and saying, you were right, we were wrong. And sometimes there's so much stereotyping and so much self-fulfilling prophecy that makes a difference. Now, all this is important because this is about jobs for nationals. My first experience of a mentor-mentee program in Abu Dhabi was with the Abu Dhabi International Center of Excellence, which was part of the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce. And they set up a mentor-mentee group, which was very successful. And I met a particular lady 10 plus years ago, 15 years ago, who is now the director of HR in a federal ministry. And I'm still mentoring her, having been her mentor back at that time. But she was at a large aviation company, and she was supposed to be doing Emiratization as an Emirati. And at some point she was told, get back in your office and stay there. Now, how is that engaging?
Here, Nicola, you know, after the graduation, I would say it's like the incubation time for any new graduate. So even if they don't have any opportunities, they need to be engaged. So a certain level of, or some initiatives like running programs, like the volunteering programs, might help to engage them. But offering an opportunities at the same time and joining the private or public sector will I think just as a part of the gaps that I think we have it. The organizations, they should have very specific programs for mentoring, coaching, even the onboarding. You know, they have to apply it within the right practices to ensure all these young people or new Emiratis, they can cope or engage with the organizational culture instead of having this cultural organizational culture shock.
Yes, that's a valid point.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a really interesting point you brought up, Omran. And one of the inquiries that I know we have in working with the youth is, how do we ensure that we are able to prepare them for the opportunities that are available to them? So I know that in working in a secondary school where national youth are a minority number, sometimes it's really hard to have access to opportunities for the youth. Would you say that there is help on an equal opportunity? It doesn't matter what school they go to, or is there certain places or certain organizations that we need to be reaching out to avail from these opportunities?
Well, I believe the educational institutions, they should get the job done, I would say, by expanding their strategy and linking them with all the bigger picture. I mean, strategically, the university, they need to reach out to all the governmental entities, even the private sector, to understand what is the demand. Because, you know, all the entities, of course, they have the human capital planning, they have their business lines, they have, even the government, they have a specific role. So they need to understand their requirements in order to design these programs. Then they can make this link instead of just waiting for the graduation ceremony and after the graduation ceremony, there is no any link. Some universities, they have the alumni, but the alumni also, they need to activate the alumni, because the role of the alumni is very important, to be honest, with the community. So these gaps and all these initiatives need to be taken seriously with the right practices, and most importantly with a proper plan. You know, planning is very important, and also something here honestly, to be very clear, the communication is very important, especially the digital communication. Digital communication is everything now. This is what we are trying to do in Job for Nationals, to offer a very advanced and dynamic platform, digital platform for the employers, where they can have a proper positioning and marketing. Then the job seekers, they will easily find the opportunities. But again, strategically, we need to resolve or strengthen this gap. It's a big gap, and we need to ensure to close this gap from, I would say, from the tactical part in the job market. Many organizations trying to come up with initiatives, but these initiatives we need to bring them live. People, the job seekers, they need to have something tangible instead of having platforms, but when you go and log in, you don't find anything or something matching their career or any opportunities, or it's not a completed process where they can understand how they will get contacted, and how, if they don't have the opportunities, what next. So this process needs to have more clarity, because it is sometimes disappointing, the new graduates, and they might end up or they might give up of trying to reach out again and again. But again, the key word here is the communication. The platform, the digital platforms should be very effective, very active, with the high level of transparency. Then they can trust it, and
transparency.
They can, yes, exactly. Then they will be definitely engaged. So engaging them with many options. I mean, in case if they don't have the opportunity to be employed, or they don't have, because sometimes you have certain number of vacancies, and you have thousands of people that are looking for a job, but the internship programs, the part-time people, they are willing to work even just to gain some experience with part-time opportunities. So a proper study to the market and the preferences for all these the job seekers will definitely help to come up with good programs, and most importantly, to execute them or implement them within the right practices. Because I don't want to make it longer, but I have seen this or I have, to be honest, I had this challenge when I was a bit younger. I'm still young. When you join any organization, the HR team, if you go and dig and check some information like the background, the qualification, some of them, they are not even HR professionals, but they are obtaining this position, and they are practicing, they are practitioners. So having the right people, and even if they are Emiratis, and if they are working in HR, so you need to make sure they are fully aware of the industrial practices in human capital and HR, and most importantly, they know how to design the career development programs, because it's not about having a model or a process without a proper implementation for all these programs.
Mm.
I can see Nicola agreeing with you there. Nicola, can you talk to us about, before the pandemic, there was a big, there was a big awareness of the incentive to have a focus on Emiratization in the private sector. And can you talk to us about how Jobs for Nationals helped the youth, the Emirati youth, through that, and what's changed because of the pandemic?
There's 2 or 3 things with that, and some of it reflects back to what Dan said last month. It's about how you prepare yourself and how you're enabled and facilitated to prepare yourself. So it's not just the new graduates. and I'll come back to the new graduates and the alumni and reference the virtual career fairs, but I may wait for Danish to join related to that. Because what Jobs for Nationals has been doing, I've only been with Jobs for Nationals since February, all right? So there's been a huge shift in the way Jobs for Nationals moved, and COVID then impacted us. We were attending career fairs and doing lots and lots of different activities and finding it's the Emiratis, yes, and it's the other nationals as well. But the Emiratis are often viewed as a minority group in their own country, and that can have impact on their opportunities as well. So as I said, self-fulfilling prophecy and also stereotyping. One of the reasons the VCF, the virtual career fairs, has come into play is because career fairs have been cancelled. Visiting academic premises, visiting vocational premises have been cancelled. And let me link back on that. I'm going to do a double loop. When you're looking at Emiratization, you've got to be, and picking up on Omran's word, transparent. The Emirati or the job seeker, let's go back to 15, 16. If you're not studying the subjects that you have passion about, or that you're studying something that you've been pushed towards by your parents, your peer group, by your cultural expectations, like often we see here, and Omran's going to agree with me, right, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be an accountant, and you're going to be a doctor. Going back to the HR part, sets of skills and competencies. We may have a skill, but are we competent at it? Emiratization has been around since I was in UAE, and there have been various moves at various different times to say, right, all HR positions will be Emirati. But we, the expats, often sabotage that ourselves by putting somebody into a position where they cannot succeed, and then we expect them to sit in an office and stay well out of the way. That's happened a lot with what used to be called PROs, or sometimes called government officers now. So COVID-wise, what we do at Jobs for Nationals is it's not recruitment. It's nothing like LinkedIn. Yes, we use social media, but it is a digital marketing platform. It's introducing employers to job seekers. The job seekers that we have coming on board are self-motivated. They are self-starters. They are critical thinkers. They think in English, they speak in English, they read in English, they write in English, and some of them dream in English. And that's critical for the workforce. The multinational companies are the biggest challenge because, like North America, particularly USA, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's the truth. They operate on their own policies and procedures, and they don't adapt them to the local culture. And a lot of, hello, Danish.
Hi.
This is Danish. He's the founder, CEO, Chief Partnership Officer of Jobs for Nationals.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, I said that you were coming, and it's no apology. You're here. That's the most important thing. So when your multinationals follow their USA policies and practices and don't look at cultural awareness and take into account the fact that they are here and they need to have not CSR, which has been the most popular word, but and I'm not really into Branson, but it's quite a good one, is, I've forgotten the word now, purpose, the purpose barometer. You're here to make money, yes, but you're also supposed to be contributing to the country, to the economy, not just taking everything out. So we have a rationale where we should be contributing to the Emiratis because they are the future. And if you look at the FCSA.
Yeah, FCSA.
What's F mean? Federal Creative Statistics Authority. They have some amazing statistics which most people have never heard about. And we got hold of them a couple of months ago, and Danish converted them into visual, easily read graphs. And they are absolutely fascinating, from gender, from age, from employment, from returning to work. And you see a tremendous number of women coming back to work and studying, work and studying at the same time whilst raising their families. And where we've got Jumeirah Janes, I don't know if that's an expression that you guys know, that some of the Jumeirah Janes are just decoration and they're not doing anything. And we've got these really enterprising, hardworking Emiratis that people put to the side. One of the things that we can do, and we're doing, is encouraging people to do like open days. So you're actually, again, transparent, as Omran said, you're transparent about your organization. What is my organization? Vibes is the word we used to use, but there's some interesting writing recently about what does the organization smell like? Is it something where I will fit? So again, in prison brain mapping language, right person, right job, right time, right place. And building people for success, not for failure. Does that answer your question, Maria?
Yeah. I'd like to add something here, if you don't mind. It's about the multinational companies or entities. We need to have the multinational companies, because I do believe the multinational companies bringing the innovation, the creativity, because you will end up of having people from everywhere, from different background, different experience, expertise, different values, but at the end they will end up to work all together in one work environment. And this mosaic, I would say, or mix of cultures will help to move to next level and to grow, and to the growth of the organization will improve. And most importantly, if you have the amortization program with the right knowledge transfer, then you have a great opportunity for the Emiratis to learn also. Some organizations, and I have worked in many organizations, multinational organizations, they are practicing this. They have shadowing and mentoring programs and knowledge transfer programs where they are few, to be honest, but at least they have this program. Maybe it's not 100% effective, but the Emiratis, they have the opportunities to have this knowledge transfer through a proper process, which is good. So having multinational companies with the right model, I would say, Nicola, not copying, I won't say call it with any name, but any model for maybe fit for another country, but it might not be fit for UAE. So we need to have a model where it can help the amortization, but still the multinational organizations, one of the I would say part of this work market foundation to grow and to help the Emiratis to improve and to develop their competencies.
Thank you so much. And Danish, just before we move on, just to bring you up to speed, we've been talking a little bit about what Jobs for Nationals does and how you are supporting the Emirati youth with employment in their home country. One more thing that I'd like to ask, and maybe one of you from the team can respond, is it's really about working past the stereotypes, which Nicola, you brought up earlier. And also, Omran, you were saying is we have to do more than just wait for graduation. It's really getting out there and finding out what demand exists. But how do we weave it all together and make sure, because I think in the community, the idea of Emiratization, it's almost coming across as the stereotype of, oh great, they're just going to walk into a job just because, but it's bigger than that, isn't it? Danish, how does Jobs for National connect the dots between what you're offering and ensuring that they're not just getting the job because they are Emirati, but it's really that they have the skills that organizations are looking for? Because I know this is one of the challenges in organizations in the UAE, is that they do want to be hiring the Emirati youth, but what they're struggling with is finding the right candidate to fit the job. So how does Jobs for Nationals ease that and ensure that these candidates are the most competitive for these jobs?
So Maria, as a digital marketing platform, we don't get involved in the recruitment process. But what we are working on is, as part of our onboarding, employer onboarding program, is an orientation or induction training where we basically, because we have a lot of multinationals on the platform, we basically provide them with online training which prepares them and helps them manage their expectations of what they can get when they're hiring UAE nationals. Because at the end of the day, this is a young economy, and I have met Emiratis who have even come up and said that, listen, we want a job in a company, but we don't want us to be given an advantage over the expats. We want to be on the same level playing field as them. We don't want a higher salary just because we're Emiratis, but we want to prove ourselves. So I've also had experiences having met those kind of people in the market. So there is a talent pool that is connected, that is engaged, that is determined and self-driving. But at the end of the day, the purpose of creating the platform was to have a single entity where both parties could meet. So employers have to take the initiative and sign up, register, promote their career opportunities, because we have Emiratis who are registering on a daily basis. So there is a growing talent pool. But it's all about expectation management. It's all about us connecting with the employers that sign up as part of their onboarding training, and to give them a bit of a background about the culture aspects of Emiratization, about other challenges that they will face, about promoting transparency, because that is one of the top most criteria that people have. We run regular surveys with our talent pool. And one of the topmost criteria is that, I don't want to apply for a job without knowing their remuneration and the benefits, the comp and ben, and then finding out, well, this is only a 10,000 dirham salary after 2 weeks of interviews. So transparency, and this is what we enforce on our platform. When employers sign up, they have to provide a salary scale for a job that they're promoting.
And a job description or a job summary and the location of the job.
Yeah, so all of these things need to be disclosed, need to be, made available before you can expect to attract the right kind of talent. But the talent pool is there.
Amazing. So Danish, talk to us more about the platform. Talk to us more about Jobs for Nationals as a digital platform, and how universities and secondary education schools and parents as well can access this platform to be ensuring that we're all coming together as a community to help the Emirati youth.
So the concept of the platform is fairly simple. I come from an executive recruitment headhunting background, where from an employer's perspective, you're given a job description and a target that you need to go and find. That could be regionally or that could be globally, depending on the job description. So the process that I'm used to running is a pretty proactive process. And we've never do job postings and wait and sit back and see what happens kind of an approach. When we were building this platform, we wanted to make sure that this platform has the elements of being proactive. It's not just a job board where people wait and see, okay, who's going to apply, who's not going to apply. That's not what the purpose is. The purpose is that once you have posted a job, you have the options of going proactive through email marketing, SMS marketing, digital media marketing, and we have all of those options that are built into the platform. So majority of what we do is behind the scenes. You will not see it outside because it's all one-on-one. So if we're running an email marketing campaign, that campaign is going to specific individuals. So, you know, the public, the world doesn't see that. So majority of the things that we do are all behind the scenes. And then from the job seeker, or again, from the employer's perspective, we also wanted to make sure that, you know, unlike generic platforms where you post a job and regardless of what you write in the job description, you will get thousands of applications. And the reason behind that is that people don't read job descriptions. They at most read the job title and they'll send you their CV. And even if that job title says only UAE nationals, they will still send you the CV in hopes for, okay, maybe they have something else for me. On our platform, we have locked it down in a way that as an employer, when you post your job, you will only receive applications from UAE nationals. You will not get applications from anyone else because we do the initial screening at the registration stage, so nobody else can register besides UAE nationals. Number two, employers, when they're promoting their company profile, when they're promoting their information on their social media channels, then they are only building UAE national followers. No one else can follow a company or an employer on our platform if they're not a UAE national. And number three, we've got contact us forms on every employer page. So only Emiratis will be able to contact you. So, you know, we've taken all these three dimensions. We've made sure that those three dimensions are gated and, you know, only UAE nationals have access to that information or that content. And then from the job seeker's perspective, again, whether you're a fresh graduate or you are a seasoned professional, you want to come on the platform where you know that all the content has been developed for you. If you go to a generic job board, then you have to go and search, okay, which jobs are for UAE nationals, which jobs are not for UAE nationals. And a lot of those platforms don't make it mandatory for employers to, you know, disclose salaries, to disclose other information that we make it mandatory. So from a job seeker's perspective, you can come to our platform, you know, it's every single job is for Emiratis, you know, the content is for UAE national consumption, you know, the on our sister site, the academy.jobsfornationals.com, all the courses, all the skill development programs, everything has been developed for the UAE national talent consumption. So, you know, it's a focused content, you know, it's marketed and developed for a very niche audience. So I think those are some of the benefits that we have already integrated. They're already on the platform and we continue to develop.
Amazing. So
can I mention something? Can I mention something? One of the other big aspects is when you sign up on as a job seeker on Jobs for Nationals, you upload your CV once. You don't have to upload it to 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 different places. The people who upload on job seekers are active. A lot of the people who go on to Abu Dhabi Jobs or go on to the Federal Human Resources site, they're not active. They post and then they sit and wait.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much. So we had a couple of questions coming through here. Could you recommend any helpful websites for volunteering opportunities for the UAE national high school students?
I think there's a website called volunteers.ae.
Emirates Foundation, Takatov program, that's open to non-nationals. Red Crescent, and most of the social associations like the Pakistani Association, the Indian Association, the Somali Association, the Philippine Association, all those places are looking for volunteers. And I encourage all people, 14, 15, 16, read to people who are sick in hospital, read to old people, just go out and do something. It shows, again, proactive on your CV. It shows you've used your time, you've made a community contribution, and you've organized yourself and thought about what are my strengths, what are my preferred behaviors, what are my least preferred behaviors. Okay, I don't want to go and work with under 10s. I want to work with over 70s. I only want to work with women. I only want to work with men. But because it's remote, it makes a huge difference. But the Emirates Foundation has a huge program over the whole Emirates and do amazing things in the Ramadan period.
Omran, what would you say are some of your tips for Emirati youth that want to gain work experience when they're in high school and they're not sure where to go when we're thinking about job demand in their home country?
Well, I would recommend Maria first, and as a starting point for any job seeker is to start to know himself or herself, to be honest. By using all the profiling tools, they will be able to understand, to have better understanding about their preferences, their strengths, their weaknesses. And also this profiling tool like Prism Brain Mapping or any other profiling tool will help them to make a comprehensive assessment about themselves. So they will plan better before, and they will prepare also themselves before reaching out for any opportunities. But I would say that volunteering also one of the important steps, because they need to have it as a part of their resume. The recruiters, they highly recommend to select people with volunteering background. To be honest, I would like to share this small story with you. The first job that when I have been recruited, the reason of selecting me because I was a very active member in the student council. So I did not, I definitely had the interview, all the recruitment process, but this part shined me, and I was comfortably speaking about the experience because working in the student council and whoever sharing this experience with me will go and will dig through everything. For instance, reaching out to sponsors to budget something for the students' activities will help or will give you an experience to make it properly and to, it's like a marketing work. Yeah, all these opportunities as a volunteering work will help to reshape the candidate. But again, they should start with a profiling tool to know themselves better and to have it as a starting point.
So it really sounds like the strategies we're using for youth in general are the same strategies that we should also be using for the Emirati youth, keeping in mind that we want them to understand that it's employment across the board. We want to break those stereotypes of privilege, and we want them to be as competitive as their peers would be on a global scale. Any last minute things that you want us to know about jobs for nationals before we open it up for Q&A?
I want to just mention the career match, which is part of Prism Brain Mapping, Neurosciences and Behavioral. There's one university we're working with where we're going to do a project of 60, it's a pilot study, using career match with 60 alumni to enable and facilitate them to get into the field of work because they haven't worked since they graduated. And again, there's their own self-fulfilling prophecy, as well as the stereotypes about why they're not getting into work. And it's what I find, and I think Omran and Danish will agree with me, is depends what your line is for millennials. But I tend to think as 1990 as my boundary for millennials. I think people over 30 are not millennials. They're Generation Y. But the millennials are highly motivated. Having been here since 1995, I have seen a complete shift in the work dynamic and the interest. I was the first HR manager at Aldar in Abu Dhabi, and we had 144 employees and 33% Emiratization without an Emiratization program, because we looked for the right person, for the right job, the right place, at the right time. And there are people there who I recruited back in 2005 who are now on the board of KIDMA, as was. They're directors of this, directors of that. One guy who was with me at the Health Authority and then came to Aldar, ended up being the director of Aldar Academies, all Emiratis. And people say to me, Emiratis don't work. That is not true. That is not true.
I do believe having an effective digital platform will help to create or to reset the mindset, because we have many false assumptions from the employers, from the job seekers, wrong stereotypes. And I think with this level of transparency and the simplicity, I would say also, and having an effective platform should be very simplified, will help to create the right mindset where people, they will start to trust the platform, and then they will have the right opportunities also.
Danish, is there anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I think Omran and Nicola has pretty much covered everything. I think it's about taking the initiative of actually doing it. So if you're an employer, come on the platform, sign up, and start promoting your career opportunities for the UAE national talent. Because at the end of the day, it's not a platform that is location limited. It's not a platform for Dubai-based Emiratis or Abu Dhabi-based Emiratis or Iraq-based Emiratis. We are trying to bring Emiratis across the 7 Emirates together on the same platform through social media marketing, through university partnerships, academic partnerships. So the work continues.
So I think my last question is cost. What's the cost involved for a secondary school or a university, or even, is it the same cost across the board? What are the different rates, if you can share with us, to get an insight into the monetary investment into jobs for nationals from our perspective?
So if you're talking about academic partnerships, then it's absolutely free. You can come on the platform, register for free as an academic partner. We will then upgrade your account to a premium partner. A premium partnership account for employers is about $7,500 US. And then it gives them certain unlimited benefits within that structure. But for an academic partner, you get a free upgrade. You get to promote not only your academic programs to attract the UAE national talent from our platform to your programs, but you also get to promote your career opportunities for UAE nationals. And you also give us the opportunity to connect with your UAE national graduates and alumni when we have job opportunities, so we can reach out to them and we can say, hey, maybe you're interested in this. So, again, it's a very active approach. So it's absolutely free for academic partners to become a partner.
Sounds amazing. I can see everyone nodding. I think you're going to have a lot of inquiries after this. How can we find you guys?
So I think if you go to the platform, you can reach us from the contact us form, or you can reach me at danish@jobsfornationals.com. That's the easiest way.
Sounds great. And now I turn it over to any questions that we have from the audience. Eric, I see you have a question.
Yeah, first, thank you so much, Danish, Nicola, Omran. This is a topic of such importance to my group, to our school, and my context. Just briefly, we're an American curriculum school in Fujairah. We're owned by FNG, the Fujairah National Group, and our students are predominantly Emirati. And we just built a partnership with HCT here to promote Emiratization of our own staff. So all the opportunities for us as an institution and as an employer, but also for our students, it's quite compelling. So yes, you will definitely hear from me soon. One of the things that jumped out at me was what Nicola said, I think at the very beginning of the meeting, was about fields being, about Emiratis being underrepresented in certain fields and blocks of other nationalities preventing access to those fields. I have a question first about what are fields where you see opportunities for Emiratis, for the Emirati youth to break into, where employers are in demand, and how we can start to shift that. And the second part to this as well is Naima had a great question in the chat about internships and volunteer opportunities. Now, I just a brief anecdote from my context. I had 4 graduates last year, and they branched out as far as 4 different kinds of engineering. That was their extent of, no matter how much I pushed, I wanted them not to bottleneck into a specific industry, but I was coming up against a lot of cultural inertia, I will call it. But the other part of this is that I took students on an internship to aviation, these grade 11 students. Now my entire next graduating class wants to be pilots, aviation engineers, and wants to do stuff in this. So this is so important. What Naima says, these volunteer opportunities, these actual on the ground practical experiences are really informing the sensibilities of the youth. And so if you have ideas for different organizations that we can approach to expand the kinds of experiences that our youth are having, Emirati youth specifically, I think we're going to see a lot more breadth in terms of what the graduates, today's graduates of Emirati youth are going for. So again, a lot to unpack, a lot of questions, but thanks again to you guys. Really great topic.
So Eric, I just want to touch on 2 things. Number one, since you have UAE national graduates and alumni in your institution, we have launched a virtual careers fairs platform. So if you go to jobsfornationals.com, under the employers tab, you will see virtual career fairs. And the reason I mentioned that is because depending on how many graduates and alumni or UAE national students you have, you can also host a virtual career fair by inviting employers to come up, sign up, and host a complete 3D virtual career fair on premises, but virtually.
Very
so
cool.
That is one thing that you can reach out to me and I can walk you through that. The second thing is that when you become a academic partner, what you mentioned about, again, communication and awareness, letting employers know that, hey guys, we've got a talent pool sitting in Fujairah who have graduated, and they have these skills and they're looking for employment opportunities. That communication also becomes part of that academic partnership. So we sit down with universities, we plan out that, okay, this year in 3 months' time, you'll have 30 graduates hitting the job market with these skills and degrees. So how do we promote these graduates to our employers? So we plan that out so we can, again, bridge the communication gap. Right? So it works both ways. Doesn't only work from the employer side and from an employer taking an initiative to promote jobs, but it also works from the academic partner side, where we sit down with academic partners and we say, okay, if you want to promote these UAE nationals, they've got these degrees and this, what do we do? Do we build an independent page for them? Do we include them in your premium page, that these are the most recent graduates coming, and then we market them and bring more people on the page, get more views from employers so they can connect with the talent? So we do it both ways.
Awesome.
Can I say something?
Thank you. Yeah.
The VCF that we have is fairly unusual in that you can actually have voice as opposed to text conversations. And that makes a big difference. Plus you can have your face on your avatar when you're walking around. So that's quite unique compared to because there are many people offering these kind of services and having an actual voice. So again, emotional intelligence empathy, hearing voice, tone, volume, speed, etc., all those aspects of customer service. And our students are our customers, our clients are our customers, and we're each other's customers. And if we don't take care of the internal customer service, how can we take care of the external customer service? But another part is having open days. So like having, you mentioned HCT, we were having a dialogue with HCT pre-summer about taking school leavers and actually doing career match with them, combined with visiting the universities. Because again, engineering, that's a classic. When Sheikh Khalifa University opened up in Abu Dhabi, everyone wanted to do engineering, but their parents, their family, their peer group, etc. But some of them weren't ever going to be engineers. And then the engineering interview process was not structured. So you'd find some people would be doing like, oh, she's very heavily made up in her abaya and shayla. How can she possibly be a nuclear engineer? What has her makeup got to do with it? You know, it's absolutely irrelevant. It's what's going on here and what's her attitude, aptitude, and core traits. And prison brain mapping is behaviors, aptitudes, and core traits. It's not a psychometric, so you get far more useful information out of it. An example of an external, not multinational, from the continent of Africa, healthcare services. They made a point about 2 years ago of targeting Emiratis for healthcare services, everything, admin, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, everything. And they found what they need. They did interviews, and then they would make offers without having been clear about the compensation and benefits, or the hours, or the locations. So someone spoke to me, and this was one of my coaching things. And I said, like, have open days. So they started having open days where they'd have a presentation and then they'd have a tour. And their success rate of recruiting people went up dramatically because they were communicating and they were transparent. And then Danish is going to laugh about the next anecdote. Somebody that him and I know, I'm not sure if Omran knows, was working with Emirates Airlines some years back, maybe 10 years back, and they were interviewing for call center people, all right? And everybody's like, all the Emiratis like, oh, we're going to be working for Emirates. And then they were losing people. So this person said, right, okay, you know what we need to do is we need to take them to the location of the call center before we do anything. So you're transparent. And when they took them to the call center, people dropped out, but other people went like, oh, right, okay, I'll be working here in Al Qos or wherever it might be, but I'm working for Emirates. So I've still got all that prestige. So it's the transparency, it's the communication. Like Omran's from Sharjah, but he works in the depths of Abu Dhabi, Emirate.
Thank you, Nicola. That's lots of great nuggets of information there. I'm just very conscious of the time. I know that we committed to an hour today. Danish, Omran, and Nicola, thank you so much for introducing Jobs for Nationals to us today and for taking time. I know that I'm really interested. I can see most of us are going to be reaching out to you to learn about the academic partnerships. Please keep us informed for your virtual fair. We're also having a UAE Careers Community virtual fair in 2021, early 2021, more information to follow. But that brings us to an end. If anyone had any more questions, please email them to us and I'll be sure to send them out, or you can email Danish directly at Jobs for Nationals. And I know that they will definitely want to answer those questions. I'm excited to announce next month, we will be talking with the Moorfields Eye Hospital from Dubai. They're going to be talking to us about careers in the medical industry. If you are looking for work experience, or if you're looking at talent management, or just learning a little more about the medical industry, please join us next month. Date to follow. Same as always, register via the website. And that brings us to the end. Thank you everyone for joining us. I look forward to seeing you all at our next month UAE Careers Community Meeting.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Nice meeting you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Everyone, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.